you're okay, yeah?
That's great. So, how are you then, man? All right?
Yeah, good, yeah, I'm all right. This is the quietest room in the house. We just got a new dog, and he just be jumping all over me or yapping, so.
Oh, that's no worries at all. We've got a baby in the house, 5-month baby, so.
Have you? Oh, yeah, well, you know what it's like.
But he's upstairs.
Yeah.
So it's all good. So yeah, just going to start talking about Grange Hill, really, because you started up in Grange Hill in 1991. Am I right?
85.
Or was that a bit earlier than that?
85.
Sorry, yeah. Sorry, okay. It's good to do your research and stuff like this. Yeah.
You're only 6 years out.
Not too bad. Yeah, Ziggy then. What kind of character was Ziggy?
Ziggy was he was just your average Scouser at that age, 15, cheeky, trying to make a few quid here and there. I liked the laugh and a joke. That was it, It wasn't quite deep or got involved in anything too much like some of the other characters. Just easy come, easy go,
Yeah, was he like? Because I saw one of the scenes on YouTube where he did like a secret dating thing. There was a sort of a dating scene going on there. Just had a quick look.
Oh yeah. That was towards the end, I think, when we teamed up with the character Gonch. We kind of were making money making. It was all to do with money making. It wasn't that I was interested in dating. It was just we were setting up dates for other pupils, and they'd pay a fee, and we'd set them up. Like a dating service in school we set up.
I bet it was a pretty cool thing to do, though, Granger. How did it come about?
It came about. I was 14. I used to go to a place in Liverpool called the Everyman, which was a youth theatre. A lot of big actors came from there who went on to do really well, except me. And I used to go there as a kid, do improvisations. I loved it. And I got an agent who was Ricky Tomlinson and his brother.
Wow.
They run an agency and picked me out. And they just sent me to an audition in Manchester. And I went along. Before I knew it, I was narrowed down from so many to 2. And then the next day I had to go to Brookside and meet Phil Redmond. And he had to decide out of the 2 of us who to choose. And he chose me.
I saw an interview with Ian Phillips, and you was on about how you got the part with what you said up with to Phil Redmond. Sort of a story, a bit of a lie or something.
That was Brookside.
That was Brookside, yeah.
Yeah, that was in 96. I did do Brookside in 91. That's where you probably got the 91 from before. I've done Brookside in 91 at the end for a little bit, only like 4 episodes. But then I went back in 96. But when I went back again, they asked me to re-audition for the part, which I didn't expect because I thought, well, I've played them before. Why have I got a re-audition? So I wasn't happy about that. But I went along because the nature of the part was a lot more difficult. He was a heroin addict. There were scenes of taking. There was going to be scenes of crying, scenes of a lot of arguing and fighting with parents, and eventually I got killed, So it was quite heavy. And so anyway, but I wanted this part. No hook or by crook, I wanted that part, I knew it would get me back on my feet again. So I go to the audition, and he asked me a question, which was, why should we give you the part? And I knew whatever answer I gave him hinged on this reply, I figured, because he's going to ask this to everyone, and whoever comes up with the best answer might get it, So I told him a kind of a white lie. I had seen people over the years who had a problem with heroin. I had seen how bad it can be, but not to the extent I told him in the audition. I told him that I knew someone really well who was an addict, and watched him suffer for a long time and die. And I got all upset telling him because I believed what I was telling him. So that was the lie, basically. But at the end of the day, I got the part, and you know that's what I had to do to get the part.
Going back to Brookside in just a second, to focus on Grange Hill, what are your best memories of Grange Hill?
Best memories of Grange Hill would be when we went to the Isle of Wight for 10 days to film. All of us, I loved that. It's just a laugh with all the cast. I loved some scenes we'd done towards the end. Me, John Alford, not Trevor, the guy who played Mauler, and Ted, and Mr. Griffiths, the caretaker who passed away last year.
Oh, right, yeah.
5 of us were running around the school looking for an intruder, like a ghost. We thought it was a ghost. That, for me, was we were filming there quite late at night, till about midnight in this dark school. It's just a really good laugh. One of my favourite scenes. And it ended the episode. It was like 15 minutes of the episode, the second half of an episode, if you like.
Yeah, that sounds like just a lad's holiday in a way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was just a good laugh.
How old were you when you did Grange Hill? How old were you then?
Well, I would have been. That was near the end, so I would have been 18 then.
Yeah, like you say, so it did feel literally like a lad's getaway, which was amazing.
Yeah, it was good. It was a great time to be in the show, 15 to nearly 19. You know, I left when I was 18, so it was a great time to spend your teenage years, you know, living in London, doing a show like that with great people around you, you know.
And moving on to Brookside, so you played Little Jimmy, of course, who was Jimmy Colkill's son. With Dean Sullivan, of course, who had the same storyline as you previous 2 years before you, who had the cold turkey and going through the drugs. Did he give you any guidance and advice about the part?
Yeah, he did. He gave some at the beginning. You know, I think once he seen the way I was going, he kind of left me to it. Because I was doing it, I didn't want to do it like him. I watched him the way when he was doing it. Well, I didn't want to go that way because each act is different and each addict goes through different things. So I didn't want to take from him too much in ways, in too many ways, you know. I wanted to do it my own way, my own. I went to London about when I knew I got the part. I spent a month or so in London with a guy who done these like dangerous acting classes, Kamansky, like that sort of thing Marlon Brando would have gone to. He's like a method actor type, and he took you to the edge. He'd get you doing dangerous acting that if you know you could come across in life and in a film or as a play. He had you doing stuff that you'd never normally do in normal improvisations, and he got me prepared for Brookside, really. I went in proper warmed up, you know, ready. Because for instance, there were scenes where I knew I had to cry. I had the scripts and I said, look, how am I going to go around this? And he gave me techniques that I would never have thought of, you know.
So what was your most favourite scene from Brookside was the pushing Jackie down the stairs, wasn't it? Sue, of course, Sue Jenkins.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah. For the only reason, I just think that was, for me, Grange Hill was a great laugh and, you know, mainly funniness, silliness. There wasn't really a big platform for me personally to show how I could really act. There was for the likes of Zammo with the heroin storyline, because he had such a big storyline and there were scenes he had to do which took him over the edge as well. And for me, that scene on the top of the stairs was, I just let loose. I just let all whatever, everything I'd picked up, my own demons in the past I'd been through, I just let them all out in that scene. And I think it shows, because I was really hyped up. I got hyped up before it. And I just think that was I couldn't, when I haven't seen Brookside since these clips have come up again, but when I remember watching them at the time and thinking that was my best scene, and people who are new told me that as well. said that was your scene.
Did you know anyone at the time that was going through cold turkey with heroin addiction?
No, not at the time. No, I didn't know anyone.
No.
Just that a lot of it was. It's kind of. I mean, I've seen Trainspotting. I remember watching Trainspotting and Ewan McGregor. I mean, and I also watched Al Pacino in a film called Panic in Needle Park, where he plays a heroin addict. And the Komansky classes, obviously in London, there were things like that. And over the years, I had seen a few drug addicts in Liverpool and London, but you don't stop and observe. Sometimes you just carry on your life, don't you? You know. So I've tried to claw back memories of how they looked and how they felt, you know, to bring to that part as well. I was clawing my memory banks for, you know, visions I had in the past.
Do you still see anything of Dean and Sue, or any of the cast?
The only ones I see is when I originally joined the Everyman as a kid, I used to go with my pal Jason, who played Rod Corkill. He's still like a very close mate. We went through school together and Everyman together, and we still see each other now. We have a coffee or a couple of shandies, whatever. The guy who played Max Farnham, Stephen Pinder, I'm in contact with Steve. He's still a good friend. Tracy Corkill, Justine Kerrigan, contact with her. Dean, the last time I seen Dean, I was just walking through town. I'd say it was about 3 years ago, and I bumped into him, and we had a good chat at Lamb Street. It was. I was walking through Lamb Street, and he was with his pal. We had a good chat at Lamb Street Station and a laugh. And a few people wasn't expecting to see me and him together in the middle of Lamb Street, especially as my character was killed off. So we started getting photos with us, which was quite funny, you know.
I bet that was gutting when did they tell you that you were going out, that they were taking you out of it, or did you want to go?
No, I would have stayed. I would have stayed as long as I could. I loved doing it. I love the money as well. But it was one of the first questions I asked when I got the part. I said, "How does it end?" And okay, he's a heroin addict, but what's the finale of it all? And they said, "You die." I thought, right, okay. So there's no Bobby Ewan coming back in the shower, you know.
You wanted the part so much? When you found out that, did you want to sort of leave it alone in a way?
Leave it alone, as in,
like, oh, I'm getting killed off. Do I really want to play this part now, or you know?
No, it didn't put me off. It was. I just would have liked to have been in it longer, because obviously it's a good routine to be in, and in a soap, and good money, and you know, it keeps you busy, and it's work. You know, you crave to. A lot of actors are out of work for so long of their careers, to be in something like Brookside or Coronation Street or EastEnders. It's like it's stability, you know. That's all it would have been to me. It's a job. It's not. I'm not bothered about the fame side of things. People recognise me. That's here and there. It's the stability of the work that I like, and that's what I was upset that I was getting killed off for, because that stability was going to go then. And I knew I'd be like back to fighting to get parts and auditions and whatever else, you know.
Bit of a shame he got killed off when you did, obviously. That was, you know, little Jimmy's, well, his character, the character.
You know why they killed him off? There's a reason.
Are you going to let me into a little secret here?
I'll let you into the secret, yeah. It's Phil Redmond, very, very clever Phil Redmond, right? When they done Grange Hill, Zammo was the heroin addict, yeah. Zammo got over the heroin problem and got himself together and lived, when he left the program, as far as we know, a good life. He could have had a good life, because he was off the drugs. So all good with Zamo. Now, with my character, what they wanted to show was the other side, that you mightn't get off. He doesn't get off the heroin. He stays on it. He's still drug dealing, getting into trouble, and eventually gets killed. So they're trying to show the other flip side of the coin, that it's not always a good ending. It can end in death like this, you know. So I believe that's what I got told around when I asked why, you know. Towards the end, I asked why, and that was the answer I got. It's to show that it can result in this.
But it was quite emotional to do them last scenes.
It was eerie. It was quite eerie to lay on a bed. They didn't show it. They didn't show it though. They filmed it, but they didn't show it.
That's right. Yeah, Jimmy came in. Dean came in the door, and that's it. And that's all you saw.
Yeah, you just visualize me laying there, you know. So it was to watch it on television. I was like that, whether it is to watch it when it got released, when it come on. But I did. I ended up watching it. And it was just a bit eerie, you know, watching yourself dead, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I can't imagine that, George, to be honest. I can't imagine that.
I've only had to do it once, but it was a little bit freaky, you know.
So what happened after Brookside then, to yourself, to your work? Did you get anything after that?
Yeah, what happened was, after Brookside, it was a long run, to quote an Eagles song, it was the long run of theatre for me.
Okay.
There was a pantomime after Brookside, where I played the King Rat in Dick Whittington. Then I got into a play called Fredonia, where we toured the country about two guys hitchhiking across America in 1980, the year John Lennon got killed. So it's all about that in a way. It's a brilliant play. Then I wrote my own play with a friend of mine about the Titanic. True story about two Welsh boxers who died on the Titanic. Me and my pal wrote that one and produced it and put that on in South Wales because they were Welsh. And then we took that around Wales, and then it's just more theatre mainly, you know. The Alehouse play, a Lawana comedy set in Liverpool, done that 5 times, about setting a pub in Liverpool, different characters who come in and out. So it was kind of a long run of theatre with the odd short film. Another thing called Nice Guy Eddie, which was a 6-part with Ricky Tomlinson. I played a boxer in that one, which was great, but it didn't get a commission to get a second series, so a bit disappointed there.
It's a shame. I didn't know that you was at Hillsborough as well. I didn't know that. Yeah. I saw an interview with you on this morning, and you was talking about it, and it's quite shocking, to be fair, that I learned that you was there, because I didn't obviously know, but
yeah. No, it was something I've never really disclosed. After it happened, I didn't talk about it to none of my mates. Spoke about it, none of my family really, and it was because I didn't choose to talk about it. I just kind of kept it to myself, and but I was very lucky. I count myself lucky that day, because it could have been a million times worse. You know, we could have been in the Leppings Lane end where we were gonna be, but we decided to go in the stands instead, where we sat down. So on the flip of a coin, virtually, fate, we weren't in that end. You know, but we've seen it.
Just an eerie sort of setting, wasn't it?
It was just surreal. The whole thing was surreal. I still, to this minute, can't get my head around what happened that day. You know, as to what I seen and why people that had to happen. You know, it's just so surreal. You know.
And what happened after that? Obviously, with all the, the trial stuff was just incredible, where they just tried to blame the Liverpool fans. It's it's just awful, really.
Well, that's what Liverpool fans had to put up with for a long, long time. Whenever they went, to be tarnished, as if we were all hooligans or caused it, as if we do that to our own. Things weren't bad enough for the families, especially back home, and the fans that were there, to have to then think that everyone else thinks it was their fault. And it was just like putting salt in the wound,
Absolutely awful. When did you first start to experience with your bipolar? When did you first start experiencing your mental health problem or a problem?
I think I look back and I think it was when we were in that Isle of Wight. There was just a few moments when we were filming. I remember getting a little bit emotional for no reason, and that's not like me. Very rarely, really cry. And I just found myself, I'd be just about to do a scene, or someone would say something to me, and I'd get all upset. I'd be like, I'd just have to go wander off so no one would see me, go behind the rock and get myself together. And they'd all be like, where's George? And then I'd appear when I got myself together. It was the first sign, and then later in the evenings, then when I was sharing a room with a fellow who played Trevor, which is also a daunting experience in itself. But some nights, he said I'd be sitting by the window, looking out over the bay, and I'd have tears in my eyes. Like, I could never explain it. But when we got back to London and started filming again, I was fine. I just got back into the routine, getting up, going to work, and I shook it off. So 91 would have been after I'd been to Hillsborough, after a few of the traumatic events that had happened. 91 is when it kicked off.
So did you just sort of like at the start think, oh, it's just, I don't know what it is, and then did you feel like you could reach out to anyone at that time, thinking, why am I so emotional?
It was like a whirlwind. I didn't quite know what was happening. It came at me so fast. Like, I got a bit agoraphobic first. I didn't want to go out. I remember my pals were coming around to get me out, and I wouldn't go out. I didn't want to go out, and that's unlike me, because I was out every night, more or less. I hated staying in. So a bit of agoraphobia, and then I started thinking things that weren't real, imagining things. Paranoia was coming in, thinking I'd done things I hadn't done, like horrific things, and I hadn't done anything. And I was telling my mother, no, I have, and she's trying to tell me you haven't. And took me to doctors. The doctor prescribed me this medication that didn't agree with me, it sent me worse. And then I eventually went totally manic. And I lived in the loft at the time. And I just smashed up my loft with everything, throwing all the stuff out, windows.
Wow.
Just went like a lunatic, basically.
So you just at that point, was you just like, so you was flicking out, going out of control, thinking, I don't know what is it, I've had enough, and you just sort of flipped out?
It's your mind playing tricks on you. I was thinking things that weren't real. I don't see things. It's not like, I don't know whether you've seen the film A Beautiful Mind.
No, I haven't seen that.
Russell Crowe, he plays John Nash. He was famous. He won the Nobel Prize and everything, but he had schizophrenia. But he used to imagine people were there and talking to him, and he created a world around that. Whereas I don't see people so much, and I don't even hear voices. I just imagine it happening. I imagine things are happening. Like that night in the loft, I imagined I was being set up in some way, and people were coming for me. It's all hitting you in different things are hitting you, and you don't know what's real, you don't know what's not. It's just so frightening. I couldn't even, anyone who, unless they've been through it, could never possibly envision how frightening it is.
When did you start writing the book?
I started writing it last year, around March, April last year, and finished it in the November and got it out for the December.
Okay.
Pretty quick turnaround, really. I never ever intended to write the book. It was never me. I never thought I'd ever write about what I've been through. Never mind talk about it. Never thought I'd write about it. It was just, I felt, yeah, it has been horrific. I know it's been horrific, and horrific for my family as well. But I've learned so much during all of this that the things I've learned, I'd like to pass on to people who are maybe a lot younger than me and are maybe experiencing the same or similar things that they can take from me. Don't do what I have done. You'll see in the book, I don't say do this, do that, but I'll paint a picture and I'll show you the path I went down, but you don't have to go down that path. If I'd not done certain things or done certain things, I mightn't have ended up the way I did. So that's all the book is. It's a bit of a warning, if anything.
And hopefully your book can be a tool as well for helping people going through a difficult time and to accept how they are feeling, because that's another thing, isn't it? Accepting. Like you said, you accepted that that's it. And that's a big thing, isn't it, to accept?
It's one of the hardest things is to accept. Yeah, it took me over 30 years, just nearly 30 years to begin to accept, because every time I went through it, which was 5 times, I'd get over it and then I'd put it to bed. I'd forget about it and move on until it happened again. You know, sometimes it was good gaps, like 7 years, 8 years. I'd be fine, you know, I'd be flying. But then it'd come again, you know. So yeah, acceptance is, once you accept it and you know that you can talk to people, that's the thing. A lot of people bottle it up and don't talk to people, and it only gets worse. I find that if you can just talk to, if it not only, it mightn't be your mum and dad or your sister, you mightn't want to talk to them, but there's other people out there that you can turn to, like friends. There's numbers you can ring, you know, helplines in confidence where nobody has to know, and you can talk to them.
Do you feel that the book, your book, will lead to self-accepting for people?
Well, all I know is on the Amazon, where the book is on, there's reviews, and there's a lot of people who put things like they've read the book and they're so glad they've read it, and they're coming out, they're getting help themselves now because of what I've put in the book, which gives me satisfaction, you know, that even if it's just one person has chose to get help, then my job's done, you know.
That's great. That's great, George. And I bet you feel a bit good about that. You know, that's you're helping other people. That's good.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's why people like me, not everyone does it, but if everyone who's got what I've got or something similar can just open up and you don't have to write a book about it, maybe just go as far as me, but even just talking about it, because people look up to people on the telly and singers. The more they talk and disclose things and say how they got over things, people look up to that and can only, you know, maybe open up themselves and talk about things themselves to other people.
And another thing is, of course, with the lockdowns and COVID, where people have to just self-isolate and stay inside. Do you think that's that's not really helping with the mental health, is it?
No, it's not. I was not out at all. No, it's not going to. People like us. I mean, you need to be with people, around people, and fresh air, going for walks. You know, meeting up with people, and it's just the feeling of being. You can't, you know, go anywhere and you can't socialize properly. It is a headache, but I've kind of the first one was easier, I think, because it was summer, wasn't it? And I could sit in the garden in the sun or sit in the park, you know, but because this winter one's a lot colder, you can't really go to many places outdoors, can you?
And that's the problem when the nights draw in quite early. You know, because I suffer myself with a lot of nighttime anxiety as well, and a few anxieties. So I know how that feels.
Yeah,
it's not easy.
The nighttime's always worse. I find that I get on better in the day than at night. You know, I can lay awake sometimes for hours. I can't sleep, you know. But I try not to. One of the tips I have is just don't put Sky News on 24-hour watching the news or BBC News for updates, and because it's never going to be. You're not going to get great news, everybody. You know, it's all going to be over in a week. I just catch up on the news once every 3 or 4 days, if that.
Yeah. Well, we're safe in the knowledge that it hopefully will be over soon. Now the vaccine's out and that sort of thing. It's really good news.
Hopefully, hopefully things are looking better now. Obviously, this week's looked better than it has in a long time, hasn't it? It's probably been the best week so far. But all I'm trying to say though is just I don't glue myself to the news. I keep an eye on it, and I know what's going on, enough to tie me over for a few days or so, you know.
Have you got any work coming up scheduled for next year? Hopefully.
I've totally changed fields. I've gone into what we've been talking about really. I'm going to be helping people like me years ago. I'll be going into hospitals and talking with people, psychiatric hospitals, and talking to people who are mentally ill, whether it be bipolar or just got bad anxiety in there, depression, etc. And just be like a peers support worker. Just talk to them and give them hope, basically. That's what I'll be doing from next year onwards, January onwards.
Good stuff. And just to finish off then, George, where can people get your book?
The best place is Amazon, really. You can get it on Amazon, or if you go on eBay, I sign and send them out on eBay as well. But there's a girl, you'd have to type in signed Grange Hill to bipolar on eBay. I just forgot, but there's a girl, Julianne, and with an E, who set this up, our meeting. She set up a website where you can buy them as well. But would you believe I've forgotten the name of the website? But it's something like George Christopher.
I'll ask Julie for the link and then post it up. Yeah.
Ask you. Yeah, I'm useless at things like this. That's why she does all this, because I'm useless.
That's all right. Don't worry about it. Well, George, thank you very much for talking. It's been great.
Yeah, no problem, Graham. No problem. All right.
Good chance there. It was good to meet you as well. You know.
Yeah, no problems. Yeah. Well, good luck with the show.
Yeah.
Whereabouts is it? Whereabouts is Phoenix? I really heard of Phoenix in Arizona.
Yeah, rising from the ashes. Yeah, it's in Burton-on-Trent in Staffordshire.
Oh, Burton-on-Trent. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I've been to Burton-on-the-Water.
Oh, right. Okay. Nowhere near. I don't think so.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks very much, George. Anyway.
I've just got on now, Graham. I thought that was another guy watching us during this interview.
No. That was. Don't worry about it. That's my other device, which is so.
Oh,
don't
yeah.
worry about that. Nothing to worry about there.
I thought he hasn't moved in the whole interview.
No, he's done well, hasn't he? He's done very well.
Great stuff.
All right. Cheers. Thanks, George.
All right. Cheers. I'll just move across a bit so it's a bit more presentable, you know. Because I thought it was radio, you see.